the same thing that is going on now in Uganda and Ethiopia, bringing in new blood of athletes. This is what is going to happen. But at least, you know, we are able to see new crop coming up that is going to be the future in this race. So this is going to be a big. It's going to be a big race, big traffic. But since it's fast, it's going to be very interesting.
I'm actually very curious to see if is this the generation of athletes that actually return this medal to Kenya. We have what it takes right now, the crop of athletes that we have at this particular moment, especially the ones right now on the track. Are they capable of actually going ahead and bringing it back home to Kenya?
Yes, as I said before, the championship are not record-breaking events. They are actually very tactical. And if our athletes are playing the tactics properly, then you should be able to bring medals back home. I saw the 2017 World Championship in London, where Mo Farah ended up beating our guys, and that happened because we did not really figure out what Mo Farah was going to do, and then we counteracted. So that was where the problem is. Now they are there, they're ready in the line to go, and there they go.
Right, we are.
Game starts.
We are going for the 10,000 meters final. And of course, huge spotlight on Geoffrey Kamwaror. Ordinarily, you know, in the World Half Marathon, however, he will be going, hopefully, for the 10,000 meters in this case. He is a previous world record holder in the half marathon. But, Coach, to you, how different tactically is it? First of all, we look at the half marathon. It is very much a road race. This is very much track. We look at the difference in distance as well, strategically and tactically. How different is it in the mind of such an athlete as Kamwaror?
Well, Kamwaror, for example, is a very experienced athlete. He's experienced because he has got immense races behind him. He has competed at a very high level. So as long as Kamwaror is in shape and is ready to go, it's very hard to beat him. There is a lot of young people who come in, but people like Kamwaror would always deliver if they're healthy.
And I'm very curious, you mentioned Mo Farah, who actually back in 2017 was training right here in Kenya. Could maybe the COVID restrictions help us in a way that some of these top athletes may not be training in the high altitude areas of Kenya?
There is a time that you can be able to maintain in a lap, in a 10,000. 10,000 is a 25 lap race, and you know, somewhere, somehow, somebody is going to be able to start coming down. When that race you talk about Mo Farah started, I believe was Bedan started with a 58 lap, and it was from the beginning was hit to the pedal, you know. So in that kind of race, I mean, you're gonna get tired somewhere, and Mo Farah had already known what exactly he wants us to do and what it would take to win. So he played, he ran his laps correctly, and came to the end. He was able to sprint, and there was nothing we could do to respond.
And right there, could that be then Kenya's problem right there? That over the years we've relied on talent and not developed on the technicality of the sport.
Yeah, you should be able, the coach should be able to sit there and become very analytical. And being analytical is being able to figure out the possibilities, the weaknesses, the strengths of athletes from the other countries or the other races that you're running. So the moment you know that, you know this is the strength, this is the weakness, this is what these people can do. This is my strength, this is my weakness. What can I do in this case? Then you are able to navigate and play properly in those events. So that's how sometimes we lose races, because there was a anomaly somewhere that we neglected something. The best race I've ever seen again, as I was saying, between Gabriel Slancy and Paul Tergat in Sydney Olympics 2000, that was amazing because it came to every ounce of energy to the finish line.
And of course Paul Tergat, who's the president of the National Olympics Committee of Kenya, and of course that competition between the two guys was remarkable. It's again one of the history books. But then we can go back to 2004 when Bekele won at the Olympics, and in the final lap, coach, giving a 53.04. I think that is very incredible for an athlete, having done all the 24 laps, and then on the last lap, go ahead and give a 53.04.
The 53 does not just come from nowhere. It is something that you've done and trained, and you know exactly what's going on. So he knew he would be able to lag behind. He can be able to be in the middle of the race, but if he has to give 53 seconds the last lap, he could be able to do that. So he was aware. He knew very well. It did not just happen that day. It is something that he had practiced. He knew he was, he knows how to eat breakfast.
Ida, of course, mentioned earlier Joshua Cheptegei. And Joshua Cheptegei, guys, came out of nowhere, and look at him dominating the race. When we thought our challenges were coming from Mo Farah, who, by the way, has been trying to look for Olympic qualifying time for some time. And, of course, as a Kenyan, I would hope that he doesn't get, but as a sports fan, I'll hope he gets, and just to see the kind of action we'll want to see at the Olympics, where we have, Kenyans, the guys who will be selected today at the end of this race, and Joshua Cheptegei, who has really a good, spectacular form, the Ethiopians, and Mo Farah once again, which probably I think will be his last race.
Well, everything is about you searching and looking and asking questions about what's my problem. Okay, how do I solve this problem? I need a solution to this problem. So Uganda somehow made a solution and found a solution. Had a problem and they found a solution because they wanted to dominate the distance events as well. So who is coaching Cheptegei? Who is coaching Joshua? Who is coaching those distant Ugandans? You have to find out that, and who sits with them? Who goes through the process of actually analyzing the event and what they do daily or when they're racing. There must be somebody, and those are the things that we should ask ourselves. What exactly is going on, and what can we do? What do we need to do? We have a problem.
Watson, one thing I really appreciate about having Coach Areng here is that he gives us two perspectives. He gives us the first perspective, of course, as a former athlete, and he also gives us the angle of a coach. And one thing that he's been emphasizing since yesterday is the importance of coaching, the importance of having someone who can guide you through the techniques that you need to use, the techniques that you need to change and develop you as an athlete. But looking at the qualifying time for this 25-lap race, as you were saying, Watson, it is 27 minutes, 28 seconds flat. And if we do look at that and focus on that, then currently, in this field of about 30 athletes, it then means that 10 out of these 30 athletes who have been invited in the 10,000 meters have already attained the Olympic qualifying standards. Coach, I think this just goes to show about how strong, how phenomenal Kenya is, and not just Kenya, but East Africa generally, in this particular race of the 10,000 meters, that we actually see athletes going to represent other countries, Kenyan athletes going to represent other countries, just because the competition in this race is so strong. Yes,
and as I said again, the issue, going back to the issue of top two going to the Olympics and making the team, and then the third one being decided by the panel, I think when you have the top 10 in the event that have been invited, that have hit the qualifying times, and this is the way to sort it out today, I think maybe the top 3 should be given the chance to go straight instead of playing around. They are all here. This is the day. This is the day that we've been waiting for you to wear that singlet and represent the country.
Absolutely. And, we were talking about how long it's been, Kenya at the 1968 Games in Mexico. That was the last time that this particular country won gold. So as Watson was asking, is this the year? We have the likes of Joshua Cheptegei also from Uganda with his eyes firmly fixed on that gold. And not forgetting that we still have the javelin women's final also ongoing. We will be sure to give you those results in due course. This particular race as well, has seen the arrival of several foreign-based athletes, mainly based in Japan. And of course, Japan and Kenya have always had a very good partnership going back to the days of Douglas Wakehore, a brilliant partnership in terms of developing talent from Japan. We're talking about the Commonwealth Games 10,000 meters bronze medalist Rogers Kwemoy, who is signed by Asian Kogyo corporate team. And he will be hoping to make his mark over the distance. So will Bernard Kibet, who is also based in Japan. Coach earlier, Watson, was just talking about the US-based Edward Cheserek. So all these are potentials, but I do think it goes back to the point you were making in terms of the foreign-based athletes being developed just a bit more, you realize, either because of infrastructure, facilities, the different systems out there.
And you won't believe this, Coach. 10 years ago, we were at this we were at the Nyayo National Stadium, and I was with a very experienced sports journalist, and that is Elias Makori. And guess what? We spoke about sports science. And it's not just about the talent, which now we are aware, and looking at the kind of field the 10,000 meters has started today here at Kasarani. Looking at the immense talent that we have in the country. Now we have come to realize that that is not enough.
It's not enough. You have to look at, you start with the talent, you go now to science, and there are a lot of things that go through. You go to psychology as well. So there is and physiology. So you have to learn all those things and combine them to be able to deliver results. So when you have a superior athlete and you give them all possibilities, then you are able to get very good results without a problem. But if you're only depending on one thing, which is talent, then there will be somebody who will look at you and say, yeah, he has talent, but guess what? He is weak in this side, and we can be able to counter that. That's why I was saying in the beginning that you have to figure out what's your weakness, what's your strength, what can you do, what's the strength of the other guy that you're competing against, and what's the weakness. And then you're able to do something about it because you know how to resolve that problem.
Indeed, and I totally agree with what you're saying, Coach. And again comes a headache for the panel of selectors. Looking at the field and the talent that we have, probably an outsider might go ahead and qualify as the top two athletes. And at the end of the day, we have an athlete that the team knows is technically gifted to take on the likes of Cheptegei, the likes of Mo Farah at the bigger stage. So is that why then we have the panel of selectors coming in and ensuring that we don't only take the winner at the trials, but also someone who can actually go on and technically take on the other athletes?
Yeah, the winner of the trials does not necessarily mean he's going to deliver the gold medal. Okay? And sometimes there are people who are left behind who actually are the medal prospects. So hopefully the eye that stands or sits on that panel is able to be very objective and really choose the right person. But I know for sure one of the biggest problems is that we look at the athletes from maybe a couple of past performances. But look at the athletes today. When you have 10 people that have come here and they have all hit that Olympic qualifying mark, they are qualified to run. It's the same as something that we're talking about. If the top 3 are taken from here, another top 3 can go to another country. But I'm telling you, they meet 1 week, 2 weeks later, the results will be different. So that's why it's a double-edged sword. And when you have the 10 of them here, please, maybe give the 3 a chance.
Indeed. And Watson, we were talking about the likes of Geoffrey Kamwaror, who of course is an expert at this stage, differentiating between when he takes part on the road races, when he takes part on the track. But looking at another half marathon specialist who unfortunately is missing out on this chance to hopefully represent Kenya at the Tokyo Games. Of course, can't go without mentioning Kibi Wat-Kandie. Had incredible hopes of taking part here and hopefully representing Kenya at the Summer Games in Tokyo. However, that wasn't to be, of course, courtesy of a right knee injury, that being the World Half Marathon silver medalist Kandie. And another person or another athlete missing is the 2016 silver medalist Beden Karoki, who is also missing out courtesy of injury. So, just looking at that, Coach, your comments.
Yes, and as the race progresses right now, you can see the top 10 that we were talking about that have hit the Olympic marks already there. That's the pack. That's the chest pack. It's right in front. The 10 people, although it's now starting to spread, halfway the race, That's halfway the race. It's about 5,000 meters now. And now it is getting really, really competitive. When you see that line, when you see it's going on that line, everybody is stretched to the maximum. And I'm telling you, but then maybe, just maybe, in that group, there are people who, regardless of how you look at them, they still got another in the tank.
All right, and not forgetting that we are going into the last moments of the javelin women's final. It is actually done. We will be giving you those results shortly, but just to remind you of who was taking part: Martha Musai, Dorothy Chepngetich from NPS, Nairobi Prison Service, Jane Japleting, KDF, Jemima Ndanu, and Eva Kamundia from KDF. We will be giving you those results in the javelin women's. But what's, as coach is putting it, the top 10, top tier as it would be, already almost seemingly decided here.
And it's surprising to see how the entire field has actually spread out, coach. And it just goes to show, and it's something that we need to explain to our viewers, coach, that we are running at high altitude at this particular moment. It may not be the high altitude of E10, but it's still high altitude. And what does that do to any athlete competing in Nairobi as compared to places like Europe or even Tokyo, Japan?
Yeah, depending where you come from, where you've been training, our Nairobi altitude is very, very difficult, And maybe there could be a reason why we had the first gold medal in Mexico City in 1968, and you've not done anything like that. So this is a big challenge. But I tell you, as they continue halfway the race, they're already a group of 7, and it's breaking up actually to the group of 3. Look at them; they're actually sprinting now. It's going at a very high pace. I think that's about 65 now. They're injecting more fuel into it, and you see the 3 guys running shoulder to shoulder over there. They're actually taking the race away from the rest of the group. The distance, depending on where you've been training, it is the altitude is a big challenge to athletes in 10,000 and every event beginning from the 5,000 meters.
And it's very interesting, coach, as you said. Now the leading pack suddenly becomes 3. From 10 is 3, and they are actually, creating the gap between the chasing pack, as you called it, coach.
Yeah, and quickly at the back stretch, those 3 guys made a move, and they took away themselves from the rest of the group. Now these are these are 6 people in the race on the top 10, but you see they dropped from 10 to 7 to 6, and now it's to 3. But in that 3 group, soon there will be another injection of energy and power, and you'll see 2. 1 moving away from the rest of the pack, and then now it gives the panel the decision what they need to do.
Right, but gentlemen, I do have to say it simply is amazing to watch the young Rogers Kwemoy actually make his mark in Kenyan athletics. We happened to watch him actually do his thing a few months ago, earlier in the year at the National Cross Country Championships. Highly underrated, Watson. A lot of people were going for the likes of Kandia. A lot of people were going for the likes of Geoffrey Kamwaror. And Rogers Kwemoy basically came out of nowhere. You can see him currently around 4th in that leading pack. Young man making his mark, based in Japan. And I think even for the likes of, established athletes, global athletes like Kamwaror, who have set world records, who have won when we talk about any and every city in the world. But I think they also took note of him, and especially after that National Cross Country Championships earlier in the year, I do have to say Kwemoy is brilliant.
And of course, the bronze medalist from the 2018 Commonwealth Games, and of course, ever since he won in the under 20, I think the transition was not really very smooth. And at this particular moment, he's now trying to make his mark. Is he a man to watch in Tokyo? Is he a man to watch first here at Kasarani Stadium?
Yes, indeed. And we always say you are just as good as your last race. So today is another day.
Very interesting, of course. And speaking of the World Under 20, it's coming right here in Kenya, and Kasarani will be host to that. And we see the likes of Kwemoy started right there. And I'm looking at this particular race. The leading pack is changing, but there is one fixed figure in that leading pack, Geoffrey Kamwaror. Is it his experience carrying him now?
Yeah, his experience is carrying him through, and at the same time, do not discount the fact that he's actually aware of what the competition is. I see him signaling the other guys to move forward and try. He's trying to figure out what those guys have.
Right.
And he's gonna like try to call them a couple of times to take the lead, and if they don't, he's gonna be gone. He's gonna be gone. So you see,
and we see, and he's done it right now, right at the last bend there, and we've seen so many times in the international competition, and almost all the time the fans ask me this. We see the athletes signal each other, maybe dropping a hand and urging them on. Why is it important?
Yeah,
for
it's
you?
very important because you're not going to be a rabbit of your teammates. You work together, you know. This is a decision that was made actually before they stepped into the track. It's not during the race itself. This was decided, I'm going to do something, and when you think I'm running out of energy, please come and help.
Right.
And then I'm going to tag you. It's almost like drag racing. So these guys are doing that. This is what they are doing. And I'm telling you, they have already destroyed the field. And I was saying, as I was saying, at one point, you would see two will be able to separate themselves, and they're about to start doing that right now.
Yeah.
They're sneaking out slowly.
And teamwork makes the dream work, gentlemen.
Exactly.
And Watson, we've been seeing that plenty times at previous Olympics, previous World Championships, and especially, yes, it is an individual sport, but even more than that, to get to that individual medal, there needs to be teamwork in the course of the race from the different countries. That's where you see the likes of Kenya versus Ethiopia versus Uganda in this case. We have the likes of Jacob Kiplimo, a very young prodigy coming up, and this is a level of teamwork and technique that needs to develop, Watson.
Yeah, because the two train together, they're able to feed each other on energy. They're able to help each other. They train together. They know each other's pace in the race. And this is what is happening right now. And as they go, and when you're selecting a team, you got to get the people who can be able to work together at times in a distance like this, because they train together, they feed on each other energy. And sometimes there is that weakness when you feel like, I don't feel like, I think I'm dead today. But then, when you see your teammate up there, you kind of revive and get the energy going again. And that's what is going on right now, as you see, as they actually take away from the rest of the pack.
And yes, coach, and I'm very curious in as far as they train together and they actually compete together, and in the entire race, they will actually be running as a team. So when then do you decide that, hey, you know what, this gold is mine?
You go for it. They've decided the last maybe 1 kilometer, it could be the last 600 meters, and they go for it at each other, and it becomes individual at that point.
And Watson, I would hope to see that. I would honestly dream of the day when we can see that, hopefully, at least in the next few editions of the Olympics. When we talk about going toe-to-toe with a fellow countryman, it would be lovely to see two Kenyans hopefully going for the gold, and we can settle in gold and silver. A gal can only hope.
Then that will be the day. And I ask this question once again, coach. Are the two athletes who now have that unassailable lead, looking at them, the competition is down between the two of them at this particular moment. They are lapping athletes at a field that we expected was very experienced, and of course all have qualified for the Olympics according to the times. Yes, but looking at them, the two of them, is it the caliber? Do we have the pedigree to go out there and bring that Olympic gold?
I said again, you are as good as your last race. This is a different race today. It's happening here. Those guys have met they have actually broken the field. The two of them have broken the field, and I'm going to tell you this. I know for sure they know they have met the team, because top two go through. So it doesn't matter at that point who wins or who comes second. They know they have met the team. This is just a stage, and the next stage is going forward in the rounds in the Olympics. And from that round, they're going to go to the final again, where they play this game to the end.
And Coach, it's something we mentioned slightly yesterday, and I will take this to you and to Watson as well. I will really want both of your insights on this. But people talk about there is a certain generation that wasn't able to be developed into, globally competing in the 10,000 meters field. from Kenya. Is there any basis to that argument when people talk about, look, in the 3,000 meter steeplechase, for example, you see the world record in the women's is with us. You see the world champion, the Olympic champion. This is a Kenyan race. Long distance has traditionally always been a Kenyan thing, Ethiopian thing as well. But with this particular race, what's been the problem over the years?
It is actually trying to figure out what happened. I remember coming to track and field, and I realized that we were not doing well in the 1500 and the 800 meters at the world level. We were doing good, but we never had like the leading, because at that point we saw the Britons, Subco, Steve Cram, Ovet, and all those people, Moorcraft, being the world record holders in the 800, 1500, the steeplechase. And then come the Endrono, and he was the only one at that time, but of course Endrono was a student at Washington State University, and he was able to come and destroy the record in 5,000, 10,000 and steeplechase in 90 days.
Yeah.
So it's all about development, as you're saying, and I went to. There was one thing that I found out when I was growing up and I became an 800 meter runner. I found out that we never had a gold medal in 800, and I tried to figure out why exactly did we not, are we unable to win this event? And and asked so many people. Actually, posted those questions to the coaches.
Right.
We run so good, but we don't have an 800 meter Olympic champion. How come? And the last 1500 was in 1968 at that point in Mexico City by Kip Keino. What happened? I mean, I know we had the talent, but we kind of came short all the time. Then I figured out there was something that we needed to do, and we worked on that. I worked on that with the coach, and the rest is history. So all these things is what you do and figure out what you need to do.
Exactly. We are currently on the 25-minute mark. As you can see, it's Geoffrey Kamwaror, closely followed by national cross-country champion, that being Rogers Kwemoy, 24-year-old, and they are going at it. As Watson was saying, look, this is pretty much signed, sealed, and delivered in terms of these particular athletes. It is the final lap. Coach, your thoughts as you take us through this?
Yeah, that's the bell lap now, and as we are saying, Kamwaror is still chasing, and we are coming with Rolex behind him, and there they go, 300 meters out. Let's see how that one goes. It's going to be a very interesting finish, and it's going to be, Kamwaror is not letting it go. However much the chase is coming, but Kamwaror is gone.
Very interesting. Of course, we've seen Geoffrey Kamwaror, who holds records. He's done the marathons, of course, and he's done the cross country as well. We have Rogers Kwemoy, and clearly, as it stands now, friends who've been training together, they have been working together. But at the bell lap, look at them go. Geoffrey Kamwaror taking no chances and leaving his Kenyan there, and of course signaling to the fans, saluting, telling them, guys, you know what? This is my ticket to Tokyo, Japan, and Tokyo, here I come. And of course he finishes it, and look at the expression, look at what that means to him, look at what that means to him, and of course look at what that means to Kwemoy, who will be going to Tokyo together. Teammates, friends, now going to Tokyo, probably will be seated in the same seat, probably sharing a same dome as his countrymate.
Absolutely, and you can see them embrace Rogers Kwemoy
and look at the smiles.
And Geoffrey Kamwaror there, and it goes back to even what we were talking about yesterday, that yes, it is a competition, but at the end of the day, these are people who know one another, live together, some of them in the same camps, and they are brothers at the end of the day. That time, as you can see, 27 minutes, 1.07 seconds. And coach, you can see them, it's exciting. Booked to Tokyo. What's next?
This is amazing. This is amazing. This is a special run by Kamwaror, and I think maybe, I'm not sure, but I believe this could be the stadium record. Is that the stadium record? This could be the stadium record.
It is.
And I'm telling you, this time can be run a minute faster at the sea level. This is amazing. This is good. Kamwaror just did something that nobody has ever done on this ground, on this field. This is just something. This is scintillating. This is amazing. This is very good. This is a super performance.
And
super
I looked
performance
at
in Africa.
And I look at the blistering pace after the bell.
Yeah, and he had gas left. He had a lot of gas left.
Right.
Could have gone another couple of laps with that.
It is incredible. I know he has run 26 minutes, 52.65 back in 2015. Still his personal best. And is he the guy now that actually all Kenyan hope lies on? And of course, as Joshua Makori prepares to get Geoffrey Kamwaror, who's still very excited about actually going ahead and winning that race. And as we go there to confirm, let us go to Makori, who is about to talk to Geoffrey Kamwaror. Makori.
Huyu ni aliyekuwa mshikilizi wa rekodi ya dunia ya nusu marathon Geoffrey Kamwaror, ambaye tayari ametamba hapa akifuatiwa na Kwemoi mwenyewe. Niseme naye moja kwa moja hapa mwanzo, tayari mlikuwa na tiketi ya kwenda Tokyo, Japan. Mwanzo imekuwaje leo?
Kwanza kabisa nashukuru Mungu kwa maana ameniwezesha mpaka nika make timu ya Kenya, ambayo imekuwa ni ndoto yangu sana mara mingi. Na nasema hivyo, kumekuwa na changamoto mingi sana kwa mbio kulingana na changa la corona. Lakini tumekuwa na matumaini, tukaendelea kufanya mazoezi. Na nashukuru tumeweza kufanya vizuri.
Alafu kiangalia mnafanya mazoezi pamoja, wewe na Kwemoi pamoja na mshikilizi wa rekodi ya dunia Eliud mwenyewe. Katika kwenda Tokyo mashindano ya Olimpiki, hatujawahi kushinda medali Kamwaror ya dhahabu yenyewe, miaka 53 imekwisha. Safari hii hakikisho lako kwa Kenya?
Nasema kwamba our mentor ambaye ni Eliud Kipchoge alikuwa hapa. So alikuwa ametupea changamoto ya kwamba mfanye bidii mkate Kenya team ndio tuweze kwenda wote pamoja Tokyo. Hasa niko na furaha sana kwa rafiki yangu Rogers ambaye tunafanya mazoezi naye, ya kwamba tumeweza kuchukua 1-2 na kulingana na time yetu tumekimbia leo, inaonekana ni sio mbaya sana. Inaashiria kwamba tutaenda kufanya vizuri kule Tokyo, Japan.
Safi kabisa. Niseme hapa na Kwemoi mwenyewe pia, ambaye mnafanya mazoezi naye, amemaliza nafasi ya pili. Kwemoi nafasi ya pili mwanzo, na mnakwenda tayari, mko tiketi wote wawili na mnafanya mazoezi pamoja, mnamaliza wote mmoja wa pili. Mwanzo utasemaje kuhusu kumaliza wa kwanza alafu wewe wa pili?
Kitu ya kwanza nashukuru Mungu kwa kumaliza nafasi wa pili, na wakati nilikuja hapa sikuwa natarajia kama naweza kimbia mzuri. Juu nilishikwa na homa nikiwa njiani. Haya, pia nimekuwa na injuries kwa mguu, lakini nashukuru Mungu ijanisumbua mpaka sasa. Wako kata timu ya Olympic, niko na furaha sana. Mimi na trainmate wangu Kamwaror tumekimbia vizuri. Kitu yenye imetufanya tukimbie vizuri ni momenta Eliud Kipchoge amekuwa around na ametuambia mngangane mchukue 1-2, ambapo sisi pia tulisema hatuta late nani Eliud Kipchoge down.
Alafu ukiangalia Kwemoi, miaka 53, hakuna dhahabu kwa Kenya mita 10,000. Mwisho aliyeshinda ni marehemu Naftali Temu. Safari hii unaonaje kule Tokyo?
Kwa vile tumekimbia hapa, inaashiria kwamba tumeimprove kwa mazoezi yetu, na tukienda pale Tokyo mtarajia mazuri kutoka kwetu.
Alafu ukiangalia Eliud mwenyewe alikimbia 5,000, akakimbia 10,000. Mwisho akakwenda barabarani ambako anafanya mambo makuu. Labda nyinyi pia, wewe na Kamwaror amekwisha kuanza ile nusu marathon na amekimbia full marathon New York, amekuwa bingwa mara 2. Labda wewe pia?
Kwa mimi naweza sema ya kwamba Eliud is my momenta, na vile alianza pia mimi nafuata his steps. Yeah.
Kila laheri.
Asante.
Watson Aida Waringa, endelea na shughuli.
Fantastic stuff. Rogers Kwemoi, 24-year-old based in Japan, coming second in that final of the 10,000 meters men's. And we can't see hope. We can't see possibilities and hope of medals in this particular race. And of course, Geoffrey Kamwaror with that fantastic time taking a first spot. And an interesting thing, Watson, that has been